Hey, are you planning to move to Puerto Rico? Well, let me tell you, don't do it. I'm just joking. Hey guys, welcome to this week's vlog. I'm so excited to be sharing these things you need to know before moving to Puerto Rico. So we've been here in Puerto Rico for a year and a half now. We are originally from Hawaii and we made this huge decision for our family. I'm so happy to be sharing these things with you folks because these are things that you need to know, or I wish I knew before moving to Puerto Rico. So if you're thinking of moving or have already decided to move to Puerto Rico, this video is for you. So stay tuned and please like and subscribe if you haven't already for some of my tips. So before you make that huge decision to move to Puerto Rico, it's best that you come to the island at least once or twice. During your visits, come here at least two to 3 weeks. That way you can scope out the island and see which pueblo or town would be best fit for you. Now you're wondering, where should I live in Puerto Rico? Well, it's based on your preference actually. When you come to visit, you're gonna scope out the island, visit the different pueblos. When we chose the location we wanted to live in, it was based off of being near family. My husband is originally from here. He lived in Arecibo his whole life. We wanted to be close to Arecibo or Adil. So that's when we started looking near the area, which is either Camuy or Isabela. Those are about 20 to 30 minutes away from his family, or even just stay within Adil or Arecibo. Another reason why we chose where we're living right now, which is in Camuy, it was to be closer to the beach. Where we lived in Hawaii, the beach was about 30-45 minutes at the most. It wasn't that bad, but we actually really wanted to be closer to the beach. We love the water. My daughter loves to play in the sand. She loves to collect seashells, rocks, things like that. So that's one of the things that made us choose Camuy. So it's pretty much based on where you want to live. If you wanted to live in the city, you can live in San Juan. If you like the busy lifestyle, San Juan is the place to be. So next question would be housing. How did we find our place? Well, my recommendation for this is that if you see yourself settling down here in Puerto Rico, then I would definitely invest in buying a property here. It's a lot cheaper than buying a property in Hawaii, of course. And so that's the reason why we decided to just buy a house. We sold our house in Hawaii and bought our property. Now, if you don't see yourself settling down here and you just want to test out the waters, see how the island lifestyle feels like for you, or even with your family, I would say that there's different options. One option would be to do rental. You could do rental for 6 months to a year. You could either rent a house or a townhouse, an apartment, somewhere you want to be, like closer to the beach, things like that. Or if you wanted to be in San Juan, you could also do that. Another option would be to do Airbnb. I heard it's a lot cheaper, only because if you're planning to test out the different towns to see which town you like best, and you're planning to just hop around different areas, I would recommend doing Airbnb because it's a lot cheaper. You save money on electricity and water and internet, things like that. So that's a good option. So with our house here in Camuy, we were able to speak to a realtor ahead of time. So our process was about 2 to 3 months before we even bought our property. I recommend to work with a realtor even if you're finding a rental property, because they could be the person to help you here physically taking a look at the property for you. Especially since you're not here yet, they could go and make a video for you. That way you know it's a good rental property or it's a good property to buy, things like that. Airbnb, of course, you're gonna see it, see the pictures on the app or things like that. They'll show you more, of course. So another thing about finding housing here, my recommendation, if you have kids, I would recommend looking at an area where it's closer to the schools. Especially with my daughter, the school that she went to is about 20 minutes. It's in a deal, and it's a bilingual school. And that's the reason why we chose Kamui also. But if you don't have kids, of course, you can just live pretty much anywhere on the island. But the reason why I recommend finding a housing where it's near, your kids' schools, is because I'm not saying like the roads here is dangerous. I mean, if you live anywhere in the States or whatever, it's always going to be dangerous anywhere. I'm not saying that here in Puerto Rico, the roads here are dangerous regardless. But to me, just based on my experience, there's not a lot of sidewalks. When we were living in Hawaii, there's sidewalks for kids to walk home from school, to and from school. And here, there's really not much. I haven't really seen. The school that my daughter goes to doesn't have a sidewalk where the houses are nearby, but I don't see a sidewalk at all. So it's kind of dangerous in some areas. But like I said, I would scope out the area to see if the housing is right for you. If not, it's not a big deal. If you're gonna be a stay-at-home parent, you're able to pick up and drop them off yourself. But it would be harder if you are a full-time parent, working from home or working somewhere. It'll be hard because you won't be able to pick up and drop off your child. That's just based on my preference. So I would recommend to just scope out the area, especially if you have kids. So another thing about housing is that, of course, you're going to be living on the island, and it's known here to have a lot of power outages. So for us, because we bought our property, we invested in getting a solar panels. So we bought solar panels, extra generators, things like that. So we kind of have to prepare ourselves for that here living on the island. When we first got our property, I would say 4 to 5 months in to the property, there was just so many power outages. I would say once or twice a week. So if you're planning to buy a property where, buy a property that either has a solar panel, or buy a property and invest in getting your own solar panel. Or you don't even have to buy the solar panel, you can also lease it month to month, things like that. So just be prepared for that kind of stuff if you're planning to move here to Puerto Rico. But if you're planning to rent, maybe like an apartment or a townhouse, that may not be an issue for you. But of course, when you're looking for a rental property like a house, make sure that the house has solar panels. And that's just my personal preference, because I've experienced it so many times here on the island, and it's very frustrating, having to go somewhere to get ice so that your frozen food or things in your refrigerator doesn't go bad. So that's just my recommendation. Okay, so another thing about housing, this is what I was looking for when we were looking at a property, is having a mailbox in front of our property. We didn't want to do any PO box or anything, but let me tell you, this is what I wish I knew before moving to Puerto Rico. So when we bought our house, we knew that we had a mailbox, but what they don't tell you is that you need to figure out if that's your mailing and physical address, because there's a difference. So with our house, we have two addresses, one for physical. Physical addresses is a lot longer. If you put it on Google Maps, you won't be able to find it. But with our physical address, I'm gonna give you some tips. With your physical address, the carriers that will ship to your physical address is UPS, DHL, or FedEx. Now, with your mailing address, the only mail carrier that will deliver to your house using your mailing address is USPS. Sometimes UPS if you're buying from Amazon, but make sure when you're buying something online, make sure that you're looking at whether they require your physical address if they're shipping with FedEx, UPS, or DHL. Other than that, use your mailing address, because I've had many packages got returned back to the sender because I wasn't using either the physical address or the mailing address. So it's a little different here. So I wish I knew that before moving here. So that's a good tip for you guys to know when it comes to looking for housing. It might be different if you're gonna be living in a townhouse or an apartment. So enough about housing. I wanted to talk about the schools here in Puerto Rico. So remember, I mentioned that you need to look for housing that's near the school that you're planning to put your kids in. So with us, we looked into a bilingual school ahead of time. We wanted to make sure that my daughter would be in school the following year, which is January. We moved in December 2023. We were able to get her into a bilingual academy in January. So the bilingual academy is pretty much, it's kind of like a private school here. And we chose that school because, of course, they speak both Spanish and English, which was the best fit for our daughter. Next thing about finding a good school for your kids, make sure that if you're going to be working here full time, going into the office physically, and you're not going to be working from home, make sure that the area that you live in or the school that you're gonna take your daughter or your kids to, make sure they have transportation like a school bus. Some places or some schools will have school buses that will take you to school and back home. I haven't had any experience with that, only because I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I'm able to pick up and drop off our daughter every day. Another thing about schooling here, make sure you take a look at whether the school offers before and after school care, because as I mentioned, if you're going to be working full-time physically, you want to make sure that your kid is in a before and after school program, because if you're not able to pick them up from school as soon as school is done, you don't want them to be walking home, especially in the area that I mentioned that doesn't have any sidewalks that they can walk to and from school. So that's just my personal preference. So another option would be homeschooling. So as I mentioned, my daughter did go to a bilingual school, but this year we have decided that she was gonna do homeschooling. So that's an option. Here in Puerto Rico, it's not governed by the Department of Education, so there's no regulation that you need to follow when it comes to homeschool. So that would be a good option. It's the best option for us, so we're gonna try it out this year. So enough about school and housing, things like that. You're probably wondering, should I ship my car or should I buy a car? My recommendation is to buy a car here. Look on Facebook Marketplace or clasificadosonline.com. It's best to do that because I heard that if you ship your car, there's a really high tax when you're shipping your car to Puerto Rico. So we bought our car here. We're very fortunate that we have family here that we were able to borrow their car in the meantime while we were looking. But the best thing to do is look at Facebook Marketplace or clasificadosonline.com, or even talk to your realtor. They might know what to do if you wanted to ship your car here. But I do want to advise you to talk to a professional like your realtor to see what's the process here about shipping my car, things like that, because it could be a lengthy process. I'm just not sure of that, but make sure to reach out to someone here locally if you do have someone, or your realtor. So if you're planning to buy a car here, you do have to go with the person that you're buying the car from to either a lawyer or a notary place, because they do have to validate that you are buying the car from that person. So it's a different process, but it's not difficult at all. But the person that you're buying from, they could probably explain it better for you. Talk to them. They'll let you know what needs to be done, because of course they're trying to sell their car. I know that I'm talking about buying a car or either shipping to your car. The only reason why I say this is because there's not much public transportation here. If you live maybe in the San Juan area, you have the option of taking a public bus or the train. But here where we live, it's more like a countryside. And we live in Camoy. In Camoy, that I know of, I do see like a public transportation picking up folks on a designated bus stop, but it's rare. I haven't really seen it in Adil or Arecibo. I've only seen it in Camoy. So I would do some research on that if you're not planning to buy a car here or shipping your car. So that's my recommendation. Next thing I wanted to talk about when you do buy a car is downloading the Auto Expresso app. It truly helps, because this is what I wish we knew before moving to Puerto Rico or even buying a car. So when we got here, we were using his parents' car, and we didn't know much about the Auto Expresso. They have tolls here, just to let you know. And with the tolls, of course, it charges your sticker. If you have a sticker in your car, it charges on that account. But if you don't have enough money in there to cover for the toll, then you do get charged twice. One for that price for the toll, and the second would be a fine, like a ticket. So that's something that we didn't know. So we kept thinking, okay, anytime that we would go through a toll, if we don't have any money, we could always just pay it back. No, it doesn't work that way. We found out that there was a fee of like $15 per ticket or something like that. Anytime you have a ticket, if you don't have enough money in there. So my recommendation would be to get the Auto Expresso app and do an auto recharge. For us, we do $20. So anytime it goes below $20, then it'll auto recharge to another $20, or I think, yeah, another $20. And that truly helped us from getting all these extra ticket fines and things like that. So I recommend doing that. But just to let you know, the Auto Expresso app, it's a little bit difficult because sometimes it'll let you do an auto recharge. But if you have problems, just call the number and you can do it, do the auto recharge with them. Because if not, you're gonna be paying these double tickets, and you really don't want that. We learned our lesson, so that's my tip for you. Get the app, do an auto recharge, or call customer service for the auto recharge. and get it done that way. That way you don't have to worry about, you know, do I have enough money for the toll, things like that. No, that's something so simple. Just do the auto recharge on the app and you're good to go. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is learning language. I'm Filipino, and some of the words in our dialect, either Tagalog or Ilocano, is very similar to Spanish. So I'm very fortunate that I know some of the basics. So that's something that you need to know here. At least, you know some phrases or words that'll help you get by. Things like, where can I find this? Or how much is this? Or how do I get to this place? Things like that. Just the basics to get by. But if you're planning to settle down here, of course, invest in a learning app. Me and my daughter is doing Duolingo, and it has been helping out a lot. My daughter, we've been here a year and a half, and she can understand it quick. She may not be able to speak it, but at least she picks it up where she understands what people are talking about. So that's something that I need to work on. Learning a different language is always hard, but if you put a lot of effort into learning daily, then you'll get it. Or my recommendation is to watch Netflix with English subtitles. So they're speaking in Spanish and you're looking at it with English subtitles. So that's my recommendation. The reason why I say learning the language here in Puerto Rico is very important is because we're living here now. It's not like we're visiting where we can get by with not learning the language and just speaking some words or whatever. But it's very important to learn the language because we can't expect the people here in Puerto Rico to adjust to us. We need to adjust to them because, Spanish is the main language here. And we don't want to do that. I feel like I'm still a visitor here knowing that I only know English and some Spanish. So don't expect people here in Puerto Rico to adjust to you by speaking English to you. There's some places, of course, in San Juan area or the touristy area like Rincon, they'll speak to you in English because it's really it's a lot of tourists there. So of course, they do have to learn the English language. But like I said, learn a language. It'll be very helpful for you. I'm gonna wrap things up here. These are some tips that I wish I knew or things you need to know before moving to Puerto Rico. I can make another video just more into like the lifestyle, cost of living, things like that. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do another video, and let me know in the comments if this is very helpful for you. So with wrapping things up, I do want to mention that moving to Puerto Rico, you do have to have an open mind. Make sure that this is the right decision for you and your family. Learn the language, and of course, another important thing is to respect the people and the land here. When you go to the beach, make sure to pick up your own trash, things like that. When I say have an open mind, just know that it's different. It's going to be different for you or your family all the time. If you're going to be moving to a different state, it's really like moving to a different state, honestly, because it's a big adjustment for you. So Puerto Rico is not much of a difference. The difference would be the language, maybe a slower pace if this is something that you like, which is what we like. We didn't want to have a busy lifestyle. We wanted to kind of slow it down, take some time, with our daughter, things like that. So yeah, have an open mind. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you do want me to make other videos of lifestyle changes. I do want to make a video of things to know when you visit Puerto Rico. I also do want to do some videos or vlogs about the different places to eat or different places to visit, things like that. So I do want to bring that to my channel. So let me know if you want to see those. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy this vlog, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.